What's up everybody, MaNa here. Time to discuss the big news for StarCraft 2, the new big balance patch that will change the competitive game a little bit, maybe even more than a little bit. I want to discuss here what the changes are, what they mean, and what they could possibly mean for the strategy and so on. So let's just jump right into it. Remember, this is just a PTR patch, so this means that this is not live in the game, this is just a testing phase, and the changes listed here may be changed. There's a group on Discord, myself included, with pro gamers and Blizzard, where we discuss balance changes, and this is what we came into a conclusion to make StarCraft 2 game balance a better game. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. First of all, we have the creep tumor cooldown increased from 11 seconds to 13 seconds and the sight range reduced from 11 to 10. The map control of the Zerg has been a big problem, I think, throughout the entirety of StarCraft 2. The creep spread has always been a main point for the Zergs, that they get like pretty much free map vision, and the creep spread has been a big factor of how well the Zergs are performing. So we decided to nerf the creep tumor a little bit, increase it by 2 seconds and the sight range, so there's a little bit less of map vision for the Zerg, and the creep spread just starts spreading a little bit slower. This is not the biggest of changes, but at least it helps us by clearing the creeps. It makes clearing creep much more impactful. Hatchery, lair, and hive creep spread interval decreased from 0.3 to 0.25, and sight range increased from 10, 11, 12 to 12. This one means that the creep spread basically spreads a little bit faster the moment the hatchery pops. Like, there's not really a big deal. This one is a little bit of a bigger deal, I would say. Not really significant, but what it means is that you can see the entire creep spread around your main base immediately. So like, let's say like Spinecrawler rushes or anything like that cannot really surprise you. I don't think it will have any kind of use for other matchups, maybe like bunker rushes in ZVT, but you still put a bunker outside of the creep range. So this is just like a quality of life, I would say, that can help a little bit. This is a very big change. The Viper added 0.71 second cast finish time to abduct, cannot move or use other abilities during this time. So in the current live version, the Viper can actually move in, abduct, and then actually like move back a little bit. So that like the abduct range is actually really big, and you can shift click to abduct 2 units at the same time. With this patch, it's not possible. You can only abduct 1 unit at a time, and obviously then the delay kicks in, and then you can abduct the second unit, and you cannot move the Viper at the same time. So that will make the late game ZVP, for example, a little bit less, how should I say, problematic for Protoss, where the mothership or the cursor and so on would be easily abducted in bunch, in bulk. So like you can only pretty much abduct 1 unit at a time. And the delay is not very big, as you can see. So I think this is a very big change. I think it's a good change. Shift clicking Vipers abduct was a big deal, and it really made it very difficult for other races to counter the abduct, because you could always trade 1 Viper with abducting 2 units at the same time for the big 2 units of Protoss, for example, Carrier or Tempest and so on. Ultralisk, this is a fun change. I think this is something that I wanted to see a little bit faster, but this is still subject to change. We're just reducing the size of an Ultralisk and increase range slop. I don't know what it means, so I will not talk about it. Like, I know exactly what it means. This is just some gaming language that I'm not speaking. I've been playing StarCraft for a long time and I have no idea what it means. But yeah, we can talk about the reduction of the size. It means that the Ultralisk is just less blockable. It's much more approachable with the unit composition of, let's say, Zerglings, Banelings, and so on. It doesn't get blocked as much. It still cannot go through, let's say, between minerals and so on. So the reduced size, it's a fun interaction where the Ultralisk will be simply more approachable with the army. Hydralisk, muscular augments move speeds increased to 1.05, which means that the Hydralisk will be as fast as a Roach with Roach speed when both upgrades are finished. And I am not really sure about that change. The Hydralisk, with being as quick as Roaches, can create some difficult scenarios. But I'm willing to test that, because I think Hydralisk as a unit, it's on its own, is not necessarily very strong. But this might be too big of a change, because if we can like kind of make it like a percentage-wise, it's like 20% increase, right? Pretty much. So the Hydralisk are going to be pretty fast, and I'm sure there will be. Well, I'm not necessarily sure, but there could be some problems with that. I'm a little bit worried about this one. Damage point reduced from 0.15 to 0.1. I think what it means is that the Hydras just start attacking a little bit faster the moment they approach an enemy. I think this is what it means. And not the biggest of changes, but I think it will make Hydras much more responsive. Broodlord, move speed increased a little bit. Not the biggest of deals as well. I'm not sure where this buff is coming from. I don't remember talking about it that much, but I guess the Zergs really feel that Broodlord is too slow of a unit, and they don't find great use of that, which I'm not necessarily agreeing with. I think the Broodlord speed was okay, but maybe this will make the game better. I am a little bit worried about that because I'm obviously worried about my my late game, my Protoss versus Zerg late game. Where Broodlords are already a big threat, and it will just make the Broodlords harder to catch and easier to kite the Protoss unit. So I am a little bit worried about this change. It might not be as significant as I'm thinking it is going to be, but yeah, this is something to keep in mind. However, this is not only a buff, there's also a Broodling nerf, where the duration is reduced by a little bit, and this is a big reduction because it also creates the Broodlings from like evolution chambers spawning, basically like from the Zerg buildings, right? The Broodlings are going to be lasting a little bit lower. So, and kind of, I don't know, like you cannot surround an Adept or Zealots or so on when the building is killed, but also later on in the game it will take a shorter time for the Broodlings to actually deal damage, which will eventually mean that this is basically like a buff and nerf situation for the Broodlord together, because obviously Broodlord does create Broodlings, and the Broodlings deal damage over time if they're not killed, and if there's many Broodlords, there will be many Broodlings. If they last less, that will deal less damage, so that's about it. This one is a good one, finally. Ravager build time increased. Finally, I think Ravager has been building for such a short time, for the longest time, and Ravager hasn't been touched. I think this is a very good change. Basically, you could walk up to the base of a Protoss or Terran or whatever, just build Ravagers in your face, and you couldn't even kill the egg or anything, or they would wait for you to be at the front of the Zerg base, and they would just make Ravagers, and they would pop up in the middle of the battle. I think this is a good change. Finally, we are touching the Ravager, because I think the Ravager build time was way too short, and this will help timing attacks or stuff like that to happen, and the Ravagers will have to be kind of preemptively evolved from the Roaches. So this is not as easy to do from the Zerg perspective as it would be otherwise. Alright, so these are the Zerg changes. Couple of nerfs, couple of buffs. I think overall I'm quite okay with the changes here. I'm willing to test, and let's see what other changes we have. So this time we're gonna have Protoss, battery overcharge, recharge rate reduced from 200% to 150%. This is a big nerf. This is a 50% nerf of recharging the shields with battery overcharge. But I still think battery overcharge will still be very useful, simply because I don't think the recharge rate of the shield is the problem, because I think just a regular battery heals the shield really quickly. But what matters is that the battery overcharge energy is not draining anyway, right? So the battery overcharge will be healing at 150% rate all the time. It will still not drain energy, which is good. But this might create opportunities for Terran timing attacks, and we might not be forced to retreat the moment we see battery overcharge. I think this change is very big for Protoss. This can change a lot, and I'm not sure if it will change for the better. We'll need to test that, and I hope we will make the right decision. Maybe it will stay as it is right now, but I think this needs to be tested a lot, and I feel like Terrans will love this the most, because the DPS of the Terran army is the highest in the game. So the battery recharge rate reduced is actually a big deal in here, because of the healing, right? Anyway, next one. Observer, move speed increased. We've been there, I feel like. We're just increased. I don't know. It just gives you a little bit of mobility for scouting. I like this change. I feel like observers are way too slow, and we already kind of had this change in the past, and we reverted that. So yeah, this is not really much to talk about here. It's just a little bit of a move speed increase, and there will be some mobility. This is a big change. Archon can now fit between single gap walls. So finally, the recalls and so on, and the Archons are not going to get stuck between the middles, the buildings, and so on. And you can finally move between the buildings with them. So you can actually plug a wall with an Archon, and then not worry about, I don't know, link run-bys and so on. This is a big game changer, quality of life change for PvZ especially, and I really like this change. High Templar move speed increased. I don't know what it comes from, to be honest. I don't remember discussing that. I'll accept it, but I don't think it's necessary. But I guess it's just moving at the same speed as an observer after the patch. Disruptor. Purifier orb radius reduced by a little bit. And this might seem like a small change, but I think in a grand scheme of things, this is a big nerf already. Disruptors are a key unit for Protoss in pretty much all matchups. Not as much in PvZ, but they can be a key unit. And also in PvP, they can be a key unit, and they're more of a key unit than in PvZ. But in PvT, they're the key unit for sure. Without Disruptors, Protoss doesn't really exist that much in the late game. So it just decreases the radius by a little bit. I'm not sure if this is going to stay the way it is. I think it might, because a lot of people dislike playing against Disruptors, and I get that. This is a much of a hit or miss unit. And I'm agreeing with nerfing the unit a little bit, but I'm not sure if there's a good approach because of the design of the unit. So the radius nerf is what we're going for, and hopefully with the testing this will be the right call. Carrier interceptor shields reduced from 40 to 30. Attack target priority reduced from 20 to 19. Interceptor flying radius around target increase. So I think what it means is that when you are in range of a carrier and in range of an interceptor and you attack move, your units will not attack the interceptors, but they'll attack the main unit, the carrier, instead. And I think that's helpful for the lower league players, especially because most of the time they would be their units would be distracted by the interceptors. So this is just like a quality of life change, to be honest, but could have some significance in PvZ late game as well, where there's a big fight, there's like corruptors flying in, and you A move, and the corruptors will be target firing the carriers instead of interceptors. So this might play a big role in PvZ late game as well. We'll see how it works out. Sentry build time decreased by quite a bit. Will make the sentries finally, I wouldn't say like key unit to make in the early game, but much more approachable to make in the early game of PvT and PvP, maybe PvZ, but PvZ not necessary. Yeah, Sentry has been a very weak unit, I think, overall for the past long time right now, to be honest. So I'm willing to see how this is going to look like. I think PvP can change a little bit, because that way you can actually invest into a Sentry a little bit faster and get some information about your opponent build a little bit faster, which will make your reaction to their strategy a little bit better. Somewhat similar to PvT, we might see some Sentry builds right now. It's important to see what the Terran is going for, what kind of drop and so on. So we might be seeing Sentries more often with this change, and I like that, because Sentry has been underutilized a lot, I think. Forge upgrades, research time reduced, yeah, not really much to discuss. There's just reduced by a couple of seconds. We'll maybe make some kind of timing attacks with +1 or +2 by a few seconds, maybe in PvP, maybe +1 attack timings within PvZ. We had the research upgrades increased long time ago, where in Protoss versus Terran it was very popular to play double Forges, Stalker, Zealot, and it was a composition that is no longer viable, it's no longer playable, and the balance hasn't changed from then when it comes to the research upgrades. So we're finally kind of reverting the change from the past. It's not the same. I think it was a little bit longer then, but at least it's a little bit of help for Protoss. So yeah, couple of nerfs, couple of buffs. I think mostly nerfs, I would say. There's not really a direct buff to a Protoss here. A nerf to battery overcharge and a nerf to disruptor, which are the most two infuriating things, and a carrier in a Protoss. So I'm not sure what to think about that. I feel like I wouldn't mind some buffs, because the only buff that we get is basically a Sentry build time and research upgrades. But obviously we have to keep in mind that there are nerfs from other races as well, so it's not like we're only nerfing Protoss and be what it may. So yeah, this is the Protoss changes. I hope it will be fine. I think it's at least worth testing. If we're not going to be changing anything, then what's the point of having the group discussing the balance? So a little bit of changes for Terrans this time. We're gonna have Ghosts, Enhanced Shockwaves upgrades removed, base EMP radius increased. So base EMP is going to be bigger, but it's not going to be as big as with the Enhanced Shockwaves. I think with the Enhanced Shockwaves the radius was 2.0, and without it was 1.5, and now it's going to be base 1.75. I think Ghosts are already very strong in PvT. and it will make them even stronger right now. A lot of people don't even make the upgrade for EMP, and EMP is super strong versus Protoss. Yeah, I'm scared about this change. I don't think it will be game-breaking bad, but it's just going to be a little bit worse than it is right now for the Protosses. In the late game, it's going to be a little bit better because the radius is going to be smaller than with the upgrade. So basically what it means, the ghosts are going to be more useful faster, which I think they're already very useful. So yeah, that will just be more frightening. Steady targeting is cancelled if the target moves more than 13.5 range away from the ghost, while cast range is 10. So finally you can kind of have a counter to the snipe. Steady targeting is just the snipe, I think, right? I think it's the biggest change for the Zerg, and possibly maybe you can kind of make it work with charge lots, but it's going to be very difficult to do. But I think it's for the Zerg where the ghost cast the snipe, you can actually kind of run away from it on creep and so on. So there is some kind of dodge possibility. Right now it was not possible. The moment the snipe was cast, you could not really run away from it, and the unit would always die. So a little bit of counterplay introduced in here for the snipe ability for TVZ late game. Banshee. The Hyper Flight Rollers upgrade reduced and costs reduced as well. This is a random change to see Banshees more included in the game. Yeah, I don't think there's much to discuss. Banshees are not the most popular unit to make. Maybe this will make them more popular, but I don't think this is a significant change. Maybe just for the troll builds and for some fun strategies. We'll see how it works. Cyclone. This is a different change. So the macro accelerator damage bonus changed from +2 versus armored only to +10 versus all. So versus armored, they are going to be dealing less damage with the upgrade, but with the upgrade they will deal more damage versus every single unit. So this is a change I'm looking forward to seeing. This will make Cyclones, I don't want to say like more viable. I don't think anybody will really make Cyclones to counter the non-armored units anyway. But I think with the combining the Banshee change and the Cyclone change, this will make mobile mech more appealing to the Terrans, and we might be seeing the Cyclones used more often than what we are seeing right now. I'm willing to see how this is going to affect the game balance, and this is an interesting change. We'll see how well it's going to work with the Cyclone. Sensor tower range reduced by a little bit, not a big change. I don't know, just makes TVT and TVP a bit better. TVT has been a lot about sensor towers here and there, and like the entire map is covered in sensor towers. So yeah, not a big change, not really much to discuss here. And the last big change is Raven rework. I don't want to. Okay, let me discuss first this. Gas cost reduced, build time reduced to 30 seconds, starting energy increased to 75, interference matrix duration reduced to 8 seconds from 11. Anti-armor missile reduced to 2 seconds, no upgrade for the Raven, and auto turret energy cost from 50 to 75. So auto turret, right now you could cast 4 auto turrets if the Raven was maxed. Right now, harassing with the auto turret is very popular in PvT and in TvT and so on. I think Raven is a very popular unit at the moment. Terrans have been kind of complaining that this is too hard unit to get and it's like too much of an investment. Right now the build time decreased significantly and gas cost reduced significantly. I would say, like, from my perspective, I'm not going to speak on behalf of Terrans, but from my perspective, everybody's using Raven anyway. Like, you can see Ravens in TvT all the time. You can see Ravens in PvT pretty much like every second game. I don't really see them in TvC that much. But this will make the Raven much more playable, less of an investment. And I'm not sure. Like, I like this change. I like this change a lot because I think auto turret cost was very little for the amount of damage that they do and how respectful you need to be. It will make harassing with the Raven a little bit more difficult. So the first turret will come off anyway, but the second turret that you can make out of the first Raven will be a little bit more delayed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this rework will work, to be honest. I think this is a big buff to the Raven, and maybe too big of a buff, but I am willing to be proven wrong, and maybe this will not impact the game in a significant way that I am expecting it to. There might be some timings from the Terran where the Raven just arrives so much faster that you can only have like, I don't know, one Colossus or yeah, like there could be some significant timings with the Raven where you're going to be disabling the key units of a Protoss combined with the shield battery change, right? Combined with the shield battery range and the Raven building faster and costing less, this might create much stronger timings for a Terran in TvP that I'm really worried that this might be game breaking or matchup breaking or timing breaking. So yeah, this can be very difficult. I'm not sure, I'm not going to be talking about other matchups too much because I'm not that knowledgeable, but I am worried that this might be too much for TvP from my side. A lot of bug fixes, you can read it all through. I want to point out just a couple. This one, I think it's a big one, increased maximum spawn radius by 1. There were a couple of instances where the factory unit, let's say a siege tank, which is a big unit, or a Tor, would not be able to spawn because there was not enough room for it to spawn. I like this one, it's just a quality of life change, to be honest. I don't know if there's any others. Shield battery, issue, queen, lurker. Oh, this one is big as well. There were some instances where the lurker attack would appear, like there would be an animation of an attack, but there would actually be no damage. So yeah, that's like a big bug fix where the lurker was not actually dealing damage even though it was attacking. Fixing an issue where how this attack faster at the melee range. That's actually a funny one, and not a lot of people knew about that, but yeah, it's been in the game for a long time. And this one is big as well. Stasis Ward attack target priority increased from 10 to 20, and so you will be able to actually like attack with the Stasis Ward. And this one is big as well. Units affected by stasis can be issued any non-build commands instead of only move commands to be acted upon stasis expiring. This is very big, especially for worker harassment from the Oracle. That means that when your workers are being stasis and in the current life patch, you could only move command and like right click on the middle, and after the stasis expired, the workers would just move towards the minerals. Right now, in the PTR, this change means that you can right click on the middle, and when the stasis expires, the workers are going to be instantly mining the middle. So you don't need to constantly look at the workers to make sure that you put them back to work the moment the stasis expires. So this is a big quality of life change, and yeah, very very helpful versus the harassment of an Oracle. This could be even considered a nerf to a Protoss Oracle, to be honest. Anything else? Yeah, not too many other changes. Okay, snipe can be now manually cancelled. So this is another change, which was not possible. So there were some instances where you wanted to cancel a snipe from a ghost because you could see, I don't know, a Banix coming or something like that. You could see your ghost being in danger and you couldn't cancel it. You had to wait for the animation to finish. So right now you can cancel it and save your ghost. So yeah, this is about it. My general thoughts about this patch is that's a lot of changes. They might not seem significant, but in the combination of both buffs and nerfs for both races, I think the changes overall are good for the game. And this is the second patch where pro gamers and Blizzard got together, and the first patch was very good. It was very small, but it was significant, and I hope this one will be as good. Remember, this is just a PTR. This is all subject to change, but I am positive about this patch overall. I think we might be seeing a little bit of a difference in the game. I'm not sure how many of these changes are actually going to be staying in the game. Maybe a lot of them are going to be changed. Maybe a lot of them are going to stay. We'll see. There should be a lot of changes overall in the game style. I think there are going to be a little bit of meta changes. I think the Raven rework is the most significant change of them all, alongside the battery overcharge to 150%, especially in Protoss versus Terran. All right, thank you so much for listening to me rumble a little bit here. Let me know, what do you think about the patch? Are you happy with this? Did you enjoy me talking about it? I'm not sure how articulate I am. Sometimes I have a lot of thoughts in my head and I cannot really talk about it properly because, well, I'm just, I'm English is not my main language, so there's a lot of ums, a lot of ams in there. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you on the Battle.net. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.